I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Disclaimer, you will not be transported to the top of the world. In the unlikely event you find yourself at the Arctic Circle, seek shelter from the elements immediately to avoid frostbite and or hypothermia. Geico will not be responsible if you find yourself in a cave or crevasse with a lonely abominable snowman, who in all likelihood will force you to play games including but not limited to Go Fish, charades, Chinese checkers, or his personal favorite, Red Rover, send Yeti on over. Geico is not liable for any damages, either physical or emotional.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
This is the best of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz podcast.
I'm about to make what I think is a shocking confession for an alleged sports expert, Stugatz.
All right.
I just now saw for the first time how the Vikings got past the Saints. Because I was in a flu-riddled state, and I was on medications, and I was like in a cave. I just now saw for the first time, I had no idea that is how the Vikings won that football game.
You just saw the Diggs catch for the first time?
All of it. I just saw all of it, like the Saints coming back and how weird the ending of that game was. I just saw all of it for the first time because I have been in a cave.
It was unprecedented. It was a walk-off touchdown.
And so imagine my surprise. You guys were all surprised by this on Sunday.
Yes.
Imagine my surprise and delight learning about this 5 days later.
That safety's life is ruined.
I know.
Yeah, yes.
Well, I just realized that you had the championship game. Alabama won the championship because a safety just did something dumb.
Yep.
And in this game, a safety just does something dumb, and that decides your championship. And we're just playing random ball. We're just playing this random ball. The Vikings do not deserve to be there more than Drew Brees, but they get to advance because a safety made a mistake in a game 18 games into the season, 18 weeks into the season.
I've seen that play so many times, and really the beauty's in the details, because it took me a dozen viewings to realize that not only did the safety miss Diggs entirely, which would have ended the game because they were out of timeouts and there's no way they snapped that ball off, he not only missed that tackle, he took out the corner who could have made a play on him.
It was amazing.
Yes.
It was amazing.
The other fascinating part, as we revisit a play that happened 5 days ago.
I know. I'm sorry about this, but I just saw it come up on my television on First Take. I just saw it.
It's watching Diggs negotiate whether or not he should get out of bounds, because they could have kicked a field goal there, and then he realizes, wait, I could score a touchdown.
I could just keep going. Yes. Maybe take a knee. It would have been weird if he had just taken a knee because he was confused. I want to stop the clock.
Right.
Before we get to any more sports, and that might conclude our sports coverage for the day.
Well, I'm glad you saw the game.
I have for you what I know to be the most awkward experience of my life.
That's saying a lot.
And I'm maintaining has to be at the high end of any awkward experience ever experienced by any human being. Perhaps you have something to top the story I'm about to tell you. Let's see. So yesterday, I have to have a testicular ultrasound. So go ahead and just let that one sink in.
We're off to a rocking start.
Yeah. I'd rather not let that sink in.
Just not any visuals, just the phrase testicular ultrasound. Just whatever floods into your mind with that, let it breathe and let it soar.
Am I allowed yet to ask you if you're okay?
No. So, I have to have one of these, and now imagine, Stugatz, that you have to have one of these, whatever things might be behind what leads you to a room where you have to have one of these.
Right.
So you got all that walking into the room, and as an added bonus, you've got, well, how does this work exactly? What do I have to do with whom? Into the room walks a bear of a man. Affable, jovial, 28 years on the job. For him, doing a testicular ultrasound is like me walking into another room to grab coffee. He's been dealing with testicles for damn near 3 decades. This is the most normal thing in the world for him.
Right.
I'm terrified. Not just because why do I need a testicular ultrasound, but more, what do I have to do to get a testicular ultrasound? Bear of a Man explains to me what I have to do. And what I have to do is I have to get on my back on a slab, throw my legs up in the air, not unlike gynecology, not unlike, yeah, okay, no, wait a minute.
Do I still have to let this sink in? I mean,
wait a minute. I've already lost the other room that is mortified and disgusted, but not, yes, happy baby pose from yoga, okay? I want you to imagine, but not only that, hold on. No. Where's my left hand go? Yeah, I need to cup my package with my left hand. My right hand, I can do whatever I want. You know, maybe
nice
over my right head, maybe over my head like a cowboy trying to, rope a calf. I can do whatever I want with my right hand, but my left hand has to be holding my package. Again, legs up in the air on my back. Mm-hmm. As it's being described to me, I'm so nervous and scared for a variety of reasons that I can't even begin to explain that I start taking off more clothes than I'm supposed to. Like I start to take off my socks and he's like, no. I start to take off my shirt and he's like, no, but I'm just scared and nervous. I don't know. At this point, I'm a total mess.
You're still wearing your hat though, right?
Right, of course. I never take that off.
Your legs are apart, right? Not together?
They are, no, happy baby pose. They are not together. They are, imagine a happy baby. Babies, when they're on their back, they're just waving their hands and their legs when their legs are apart.
Okay. So, yeah, you have gotten more limber recently.
Yeah. So, no, that part was the easy part to do. Yes, Guillermo, it's kind of like that, although I wasn't quite that confident and certainly wasn't smiling like that. So, when I finally get on this slab, yes, I'm sorry to do this to your mornings. I know this visual is terribly unpleasant, but I assure you it's not nearly as unpleasant as everything that I was experiencing. As I'm on this table, on my back, and it's being explained that the gel is very cold and it's going to take about 6 or 7 minutes, and there's going to be a wand, an ultrasound wand that is waved over, the ultrasounded areas. As all of this is being explained to me, this is the only conversation that I'm having. These are only words exchanged with this affable bear of a man who has done this for 28 years. And is treating this as it's the most normal thing in the world, as I'm there on my back just shaking my head like, how has my life arrived here? I'm saying to myself as I'm doing this, it can't get worse than this. It simply can't. This is the worst thing to ever happen to me. He looks me straight in the eye for the first time. And I'm in this position before the wand and the gel, and here we go. We're about to get started. And he says, I am such a big fan of your TV and radio shows.
Thank you.
I mean, now this is not the end of the story. This is the beginning of the story.
Oh, come on.
No. This is not the end of the story.
You're running up the score.
This is the punchline for this part of the story. What I'm telling you is I think we can make an entire show out of this today. I think that I think we can have this person on and have a conversation with him about what happened, and that you guys can ask him all these questions so you guys can get deep into my personal life into
your personal life. Okay.
He say anything about me?
Yes, actually, which is how we ended up in the next 7 minutes of conversation, where at various points he's laughing because I'm yelling at him about all of this, right? At this point, I'm like, dude, like that's the time you choose to tell me that.
But you're laughing?
I am laughing. I'm also mystified. I'm vulnerable. I'm still scared.
It sounds like he had a ball. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch to Progressive can save an average of $620. The NBA is on ESPN Radio. Tune in tomorrow night as Steph Curry and the Warriors. I can't even look at you, man.
Hi, this is Papi. Do you know that my TV show Highly Questionable is not only on ESPN2 every day at 4:30 Eastern, it is also available as a podcast. You can listen or subscribe to the Highly Questionable podcast on ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Don Lebatard.
That thing's been built for 5 years, Carlos Jimenez. Feel free to walk around your county anytime you want to.
Your district.
That guy should be recalled if he takes on that statue just because Derek Jeter wants it taken down. It's so ridiculous. It's a joke. It's a joke. And if money, tax money is spent on taking that thing down, oh my God. This Jimenez is a criminal.
Stugats.
Guillermo, I want you to soar, okay? I want you to soar into the sky, and I want all of your opinions to make your career the majesty that you wish for it to become. Can you allow me to stop you? Because you need to apologize on that one. You can't be at the microphone calling the mayor a criminal.
I apologize for insinuating that if you get rid of a statue, that you're a criminal.
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Guillermo, put it on the poll, please. Should we spend the rest of our Friday talking about Dan's testicular ultrasound? Should we just soar into the football weekend with details on this story? I am willing to call the ultrasound guy on air so you guys can interview him. I don't think I should interview him because then that makes him the butt of the joke. I think you guys should interview him. That makes me the butt of the joke. I think that's the funny way.
You are already the butt of the joke.
Okay,
yes,
all right.
But very literal sense.
Okay, all right. If you're just joining us and you do not know what we are talking about, I'm not telling that story over again. Just I had the most awkward experience in the history of awkward. And there are more details to tell in this story. I had a testicular ultrasound yesterday. It's what it sounds like. My legs were up in the air. My left hand was cupping my package. And I was just hanging out. And as I was doing that, this bear of a man, 28 years, doing testicular ultrasounds, decides at the moment of my greatest vulnerability, legs up in the air, staring at into his eyes for the first time to say, "Hey, I'm a big fan of your radio and TV show." It's just the worst timing anyone has ever had on anything. Just such a weird time to tell me that. Any other time in my life would have been a better time than the time that he chose.
Right when he walked in. Anytime.
No, not just right when he walked in. At any point in the history of me would have been a better time than the time he chose to do it.
Did you say anything? Were you left speechless?
Here's where the story starts to escalate.
Because I'm thinking maybe he's trying to relax you, let you know that you're in good hands.
No. Are you just going to do that the rest of the show?
Perhaps,
you're just going to do this. You're going to make those kinds. So, at this point, I think I'm within my rights to, instead of being flattered by this, being slightly agitated. I am not going to take this silently, by God, with my legs up in the air, left hand. I will not take this silently. I will rise up courageously and show you my conviction.
I hope you don't rise up.
Yeah, metaphorically. So.
Otherwise, I have to do it again.
Yeah. Is that a rule? Is that right? I feel like you're making that up. That's not
true. Rules that tell you don't do that.
That's not true.
Do not. They expressly tell you do not rise up.
All right. So I did not get any of those rules. I am such a big fan of your TV and radio show. So I proceed to start yelling at him. Dude. Dude, I'm doing it right now. I'm not yelling at him, but I'm angry and I've got tone. So something close, dude. Now, you're going to do this with me now. And what starts happening is he starts giggling. It's like I'm getting a live radio show.
You gave this guy an attitude, man.
Stugatz.
I mean, that's ballsy.
You're going to do that? You're going to do that the rest of the segment?
Perhaps.
Just find the places to insert yourself with jokes. Won't let me have my pathetic story.
I'm sorry.
Which is just my pathetic story, which is nothing but a vulnerable revelation of total shame to the audience. You got to get your jokes in around it.
Keep going. This story is nuts.
So he is wanding me, and as he's wanding me, he's giggling and laughing and saying, this is like I'm getting my own personal radio show.
And you're getting testy?
Yes, Stugatz. I was getting testy. And so, among the things that happen next, I'm yelling at him about this, and he keeps going with, and my son's such a big fan. And to which my response, now I'm going into sarcasm, let's FaceTime him.
Get out of here.
I said to him, no, I'm like, let's FaceTime him. Now good? Does now work for everybody? Why don't we FaceTime your son so you can say how you met Dan Le Batard today? And look, here he is, right here, legs up in the air, super testy.
Time for Dan to reluctantly take part in something Stugatz couldn't be happier doing.
I'm not done. I'm not done. The story's not done yet.
I feel so bad for you, just knowing you. The way that I do, I feel awful.
We're going to have to stop for a second. Brian Windhorst is going to join us. So we're going to do some sports real quick, and then we'll get back to the story. You're going out this weekend. You want to dress up, but the shirts you have in the closet are not cutting it. We have told you before, when someone comes around here and sponsors us, this Army needs to sponsor the people who help us keep all this stuff for free. So CT Shirts is where you guys need to go. Tell them, Stugatz.
Yep, here's some solid career advice. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Whether at work or out with friends, people notice the clothes you wear. It's why you need Charles Tyrwhitt shirts. They are fantastic, guys. They are British styled, using the softest crease free fabrics. Tie or no tie, tucked or untucked. CT Shirts will be your absolute
why do you
favorite.
think fabrics is such a tricky one?
I was thinking about that last night. I don't know what it is. Actually, I do. I think the free in front of the fabrics is what throws me off. If I just say fabrics without the free in front of it, that's it. But I don't know how to do the spot. I mean, that's part of the spot. Fabrics. Yeah, it's bad. Free. You understand what I'm saying? Free fabrics. Free fabrics. Free fabrics. Well,
because it comes out. I spell it FRRIBRINKS.
Fabrics.
There is an N in there, isn't there?
Fabrics. There is.
Dan Le Batard.
Did South Carolina get into the Final Four?
Nah. Stugatz.
Excellent work by you on the production side and the research side. Meh is an excellent answer.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio.
Windhorst swaggering into the room. Fabrics. With his Cavs info. It is juicy.
Fabrics.
It is wanted.
Fabrics.
Is the room excited?
Fabrics.
Is the room excited?
Fabrics.
I don't see the room excited.
Yeah. Fabrics. Fabrics. Fabrics.
Yeah, there you go.
Fabrics.
There you go.
Fabrics.
Yeah.
Fabrics.
I want you to imagine Windhorst swaggering into the club with his info.
Fabrics.
All right, knock it off.
No. 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 Splash.
Brian Windhorst with us on ESPN Radio.
God, does that bring back memories of walking out of American Airlines Arena at 1 a.m. during the Ultra Fest?
I told
Where
you.
it's every man, woman, and ecstasy pill for himself.
Yes, I see. You guys didn't know this about Windhorst. Windhorst got a dirty Miami side.
Let me tell you. So the building I lived in downtown, it had a club on the 50th floor. Okay, and so I had to ride the elevator for 25 floors to get to my place. So I'd come in during the Ultra Music Fest, and those elevator rides, whew, you could write a novel on those 25 floors where I would ride with those dudes.
You should have.
How often would you get, hey, is that Brian Windhorst?
In that crowd, 0.0. During Ultra, no, 0.0.
Mike, what is your favorite Ultra story? Because Ultra Music Fest, you just get these videos that come out, hey, there's a dude, he's urinating on everyone, and someone just punched him in the face, and he's been laying by a tree for a day and a half.
I was watching Justice, and 3 dudes in Jeremy Lin jerseys were snorting cocaine out of a Publix bag.
All right.
Hey, if you can't get on the internet and you want to see pornography, you just come to a lobby in any hotel in Miami during Ultra after 2 a.m.
Ultra's the reason I live 2 hours from this studio.
Yeah, you don't want your teenage daughters anywhere near that stuff.
Nope.
Ultra, like, Windhorst is not for his debaucherous decadences. Windhorst also left Miami because being near all of that seems generally unhealthy.
Good stuff.
All right, we'll talk to you next time.
All right, sounds good. Take care.
See you.
Catch more of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats, 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPNU.
Hi, everyone. Stugats here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ, equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
What's happening outside is the same song has been playing for 17 hours. All of you are listening to the same damn song. These DJs aren't any good. It's the same song. I know I sound like your grandfather.
Stugotz.
Crescendo,
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Hold on a second. Mike, can you turn on Brewski on First Take? I want to hear how he's defending the Patriots or how many ways he says the Patriots are going to kill the Jags.
A sprain or something like that, but accuracy is everything to this quarterback, to Tom Brady, to the passing game. And is it a 6-inch difference in terms of the way you squeeze the ball, and it sort of gives you discomfort when you throw? Do you need the glove? Does he wear a glove on Sunday to give him
the hand is fine. Let's not talk about the hand. We don't need to talk about the hand. Tom Brady's hand will be golden as it is every Sunday.
The NHL is standing by its decision of hiring Kid Rock to perform in its All-Star game because he's a Red Wings fan. Okay. And finally, Modern Family will end next season. Sad.
That is sad.
When would you prefer to spot that criminal? Before or after he gets in your home? Blink motion-activated security cams alert you the instant they detect someone casing your home. Get 3 Blink cams or what the other guys charge for one, plus 10% off right now at blinkprotect.com/Dan. That's blinkprotect.com/Dan. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Can you start that music again real quick, Mike? Did we establish that this is the soundtrack playing in Gronk's head wherever he goes, wherever he is, if he's running to the end zone, if he's at the club, if he's buying avocados, it's always this playing in Gronk's head, right? Is there anything else that you would nominate? Can you, at any point during this segment, Mike, and we'll be talking about other stuff, just find me some nominees that you think might knock that off as the music that's playing in Gronk's head as he thinks about Red Bull and vodka and boobs. Motorboating mostly is what he thinks about. Motorboating. Yeah. This is pretty good. It's not better, though, is it, though, Stugatz? It's not better, though. No, it's... Yeah. Oh, all of the alcoholics. Yeah. This polar bear, it's the only thing that will get in the way of Jacksonville. This trained polar bear, the bear that they have as a tight end.
Well, the quarterback might.
No, what I'm telling you is that they've got the kryptonite for the quarterback. I'm telling you that Jacksonville has the kryptonite for this quarterback.
Right. But even when you have the kryptonite, what you're saying is he could just throw it up to that.
That is correct. You throw it to the trained polar bear. It will claw the entrails out of your secondary and gain 14 yards each time. I think my favorite moment of the last few weeks was Gronk catching a touchdown pass, spiking the ball, and the defender was on the ground, and Gronk pointed at him and like a giant 6'7" mime laughed in his face. He became a mime and he just started laughing at the idea this small person tried to tackle the trained polar bear. And he laughed in his face in front of everybody in a way as a mime.
I love that guy, man. I really do.
I love how unstoppable that guy is. In that sport, how the bleep do you get to be unstoppable? And he's just, you know what? I would put him in the class, Stugatz, as ridiculous as this is to say, because LeBron James is the athlete for our times.
Right.
But in terms of the things that he can do physically in his sport, I would put Rob Gronkowski at the top level of what anyone has ever done at any position in that sport. I would say that Rob Gronkowski isn't merely the greatest tight end in football history. Rob Gronkowski is one of the greatest football players who have ever played football. And he's very high on the list. Very high on the list.
I think that's fair.
And he's a total ape.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'6", 270 pounds, and he's doing
but it's what he does. It's the catches he makes. It's the hands. It's the athleticism that is ridiculous.
Well, no, that's
with
what I'm saying.
His body stitched together by surgeons and plates.
Right. I mean, you see great athletes who are 6'6" in the NBA. They're not maybe LeBron is 275 pounds. You don't see him often in the NFL. 6'6", 275. You just don't. You don't see guys like that.
I just love so much the idea that this meathead, Rob Gronkowski, by any definition, a cartoon oaf, rules the sport. And you try to tackle him, and nobody wants to tackle him. And he drags you the way a train would. The way a train would if you got in its way. Pebbles and sparks. Like, just play that sound again, because you can never play it enough, of Super Dave Osborne, Funkhauser from Curb Your Enthusiasm, just describing Gronk. Because wouldn't you like it better if on Sunday somebody brought Gronk out on a leash? With a giant collar. Yes, Chris, also a cage. Also in a cage,
yes.
But so dangerous that the cage also requires somebody holding a leash. Wouldn't you love if Rob Gronkowski came out to wrestling spectacle of, look at what the Patriots are about to uncage on the Jags? Because the only kind of guy who could cover Gronk is someone like Calais Campbell, right? Who's his size and is a pass rusher and is a monster athlete, but you'd never have him cover Gronk because he can't cover Gronk, right? Because nobody can cover Gronk.
That's the point of what you're saying.
Nobody can cover Gronk. So here's Funkhauser.
You would need a guy like Travis Kelce to play defense to cover Gronk.
Yes.
Right?
You would need a Gronk to cover Gronk. You would need another one of him. Here's Funkhauser describing what Gronk is.
I think that Gronkowski is not human. I really mean that. I think they feed him out of their hand when he gets off the field. You couldn't haze him. There's nothing you could do to him because there's smoke comes out of when he plays. And when he goes across the middle, you cannot watch him.
Oh, my God.
And can you imagine in the cold trying to come in and undercut him? I've never seen a human being like that go off the field, and he like snorts to his teammates. There's no English or anything spoken.
He is. He is made of circuits. You're absolutely
He really
right.
is. There's fire coming out of his helmet. What do you think he says in the huddle besides slobbering and breathing and sneezing and stuff? Do you think he knows his own name when they say, Gronk, we're going to you? Or do they just tase him a little bit? Watch Gronkowski. Watch Gronkowski. I'm not talking about in the game. I'm talking about in public. You've got to put a leash on him. You cannot let him roam around.
I would love for Gronk to have like 40 yards after his helmet catches fire for some reason. What does Gronk feel like to you guys? Is it trained polar bear, or is it just sort of one of these tractor trailers running through your secondary and it lost a wheel and it doesn't matter? Like one of the wheels has gone careening into a cornerback and, knocked him into Tom Coughlin. And I picture Gronk was driven during Fury Road. Gronk starred in Fury Road. Charlize Theron was driving Gronk through an apocalyptic tomorrow.
That's the way.
That was Gronk. Gronk was the truck. Like, here goes a wheel. There are people dying everywhere, spraying their faces to get to Valhalla. And that's what that's what everyone's doing in the secondary as the ball is released and Gronk catches it.
They're draped all over him.
Yes.
It is so funny.
Yes, that's
watch.
right. And
I didn't say fun to watch, funny to watch.
Yes, it's funny to watch. No, it's not fun to watch. It's not fun to watch. Mike, should we continue down the path of the testicular ultrasound story?
Got to bring that back.
Yeah, we have to.
All right, do you guys put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Do you want to talk on air to the awkward man who did Dan's testicular ultrasound yesterday?
We really dropped the ball, not going back to it sooner.
Dan Le Batard.
You are the best, and when I say the best, I mean the very worst and most evil.
Stugats.
The worst.
But this time, it's for real.
Worst.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Stugats perpetually has opinions. Stugats' mind never stops thinking about things in sports. So during the break, Stugats is just staring at the television, and he says to Adrian Wojnarowski, who should probably go without saying, isn't someone who can hear what he's saying because he's on television. He's not in the room. Mm-hmm. Stugats looks at the TV and says, Woj, that's a nice shirt and jacket combo.
It was.
Like he says it to Woj as if Woj was there and as if the television was a human being.
I'm crazy. I do this all the time at my house. I do. I mean, sometimes when my wife is around, my kids are around. Sometimes when no one is around, I talk to people on TV like I'm having a conversation with them.
It was so strange watching you do it. And I'm like, do you think Woj can hear you?
It's not that weird. I have a friend that has a 3-year-old daughter, and he was watching the show at home one day, and she kept saying to the TV, Tio Billy, and then she finally turned to her dad and asked, can he hear me? And he had to explain to her no. Right. So people do it.
Okay, people do it. They're usually just 3.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. Yeah. Well, now that explains a ton, actually. But go ahead and put it on the poll anyway, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Is it strange to talk to the people in your television? At Le Batard Show.
It's a great time, Max.
It is a good time.
Kellerman's got a great suit rocking right now. He really does.
What's Brewski saying? Let's go to Brewski here on Pat's coverage.
Patriots by 30.
One piece and it's over. Watch us play. It's the Eagles, Max.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's on Vikings Eagles. That's my bad. They weren't asking him Patriots questions. That's my bad.
Think those glasses are real, Teddy?
What do you mean? Are they real?
I don't recall Teddy ever wearing glasses until recently. And you know what my theory on glasses is people, I'm telling you, Joe Madden doesn't need glasses. I'm reporting that exclusively. Does not need glasses. He wears them to make himself look smarter. And I got to be honest, it's a good look for Teddy, and it makes him look smarter.
He just reached for them. But he's been wearing glasses for years, hasn't he?
I think this is year 2 in the glasses experiment.
Yeah. Looks good. I mean, he looks good. He looks smarter.
Mm-hmm. Getting back to this testicular ultrasound.
Yeah.
So last we left this story, if you're just joining us, the last that we left this story, and I'm going to try and tell you the Cliff Notes version for those of you who weren't part of it. I had a very awkward and embarrassing situation yesterday, just too intimate, vulnerable, awful. I had to get a testicular ultrasound. I had to lay on my back. I had to lift my legs up in the air like stirrups at a gynecologist's. And I had to lay there at the height of my vulnerability and awkwardness, cupping with one hand at my area so that I could allow myself to, for the testicular ultrasound to cover me. While I'm in that position, prone, awkward, awful, this bear of a man who's been doing this job for 28 years and just doesn't understand after 28 years of doing this, that this is wildly intimate and uncomfortable. He's like, no, it's not, man. I just come in here every day and I just pick up a fork and I leave. Like it's the most common thing in the world to him.
It's his job,
so as I am, imagine a turtle on its back. And imagine the legs and the arms moving like that. And imagine wearing a shirt and socks, but nothing in between.
Oh, Winnie the Pooh.
That's right. Uh-huh. I want you to imagine, though, that the arms and the legs, just sort of a turtle on its back, okay? At that moment, he chooses to say to me, hey, man, I'm a really big fan of the radio and TV show, looking me right in the eye as he did it. Like, just alpha stuff. Just, oh. And so it was vulnerable, awful, and I got mad at him and start getting mad. But me getting mad, evidently, this is one of the curses of this show. Me getting mad is funny to everybody. So it's funny to him now. He loves the show, so me getting mad is funny. And so he is wanding the area. He's wanding it, and he's saying to me, this is like getting my own private show. You're doing a private show for me right now. You're getting mad at me because I'm doing this thing in this moment. But the rest of the things in the conversation, and Stugatz, this is where you will like the story.
Okay. I've liked all of it.
I know, but I'm saying, like, all of this stuff has happened.
Does it have a happy ending?
All of this stuff is happening. I am vulnerable, frail, feeling terrible, angry, but he's unrelenting. And among the questions, and there were a lot of them, because he was not deterred at all by my anger. Do you think the Jags have a chance on Sunday?
Wow.
Like things like that, where now and you can't hang up on a caller. You can't leave. You can't, again, turtle on its back. Wand in a sensitive region. I'm now hostage to the testicular ultrasound guy. I'm a hostage and I have to do this private show for him. So what do you do, Mike? What do you do? What is my right? How is the right courteous way? Look, it's flattering that don't be on television if you don't want to be recognized.
Oh, with a tremble in your voice, I think you go with it. And you just start talking
love their pass rush. Yeah. Love their pass rush.
Well, yeah, you probably want to avoid any conversation about a sack.
You gave it to yourself.
You can't do that, Mike.
Can we?
This story is nuts.
Didn't you do that one already? You don't remember doing that one before?
Yeah, but the audience flips over every couple.
Do you guys want to call the ultrasound guy next? Allison, do you guys think it would be funny? Yes or no? Funny for the shipping container to interview the ultrasound guy about like the etiquette and why this would happen? Yes or no, guys? Yes or no? Is that a chance we're going to take in the next segment?
Yeah, let's get this payoff.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's go ahead and get the happy ending.
Dan Le Batard.
I don't know anything.
Stugotz.
I don't remember what I was going to talk about. So in those instances, what I have is a default that just makes fun of Stugotz.
You're welcome.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. J.K. Simmons going to join us. We like him a lot. He'll join us in a half hour, noon Eastern, on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Chris Sims in 1 hour. Here's your SportsCenter update. LeBron goes for 30,000 points as the Cavs face Westbrook and the Thunder tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Then it's primetime. KD, Curry, and the Warriors go against Harden and the Rockets, 8 Eastern on ABC. Kyrie Irving sat out Thursday's 89-80 loss to the 76ers with a sore left shoulder, but said an MRI revealed no structural damage. That's another word for me. And finally, professional boxer Florian Montaneno. Wow.
I love when you try and...
Florian
Hold on.
Montano.
I love when you try to sort of get a running start like a puppy on a kitchen floor.
You've noticed that,
That running start, and then you start to sing the first word because you're not confident.
Yep.
So it becomes Florio, and then you're just buying time.
Florian!
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to pronounce the second.
Trying to figure out how, and then...
How would you pronounce that? Monteo?
Montano. It seems pretty easy to me.
Is that an easy one? Mike, nothing's easy for me.
Okay. Yeah, Montano. That does seem easy, though.
Montano.
I don't know how else you would pronounce it other than Montano.
How did I pronounce it, Mike?
Montano? I think you made him Joe Montana.
Yeah. You also put an Enya in there. You put an Enya. You like Jim Larinaga did when he got to the University of Miami.
Yeah.
He wasn't Latin before, but when he got here, all of a sudden there was an Enya over his name.
You crossbred Mike Florio and Joe Montana.
I think you're right. Anyway, he'll be cast as Ivan Drago's son in Creed 2. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Joe Montana would be a weird casting.
We are trying to locate my testicular ultrasound guy. He's with another patient right now. Yeah. So we will, but before the end of the show today, we will try and track him down in the shipping container. We'll interview him. Have you been reading very much? We are in the age of the think piece, man, when anything happens to a celebrity. Have you been reading very much about what's going on with Aziz Ansari?
I have not. And you could have stopped that sentence at, have you been reading very much?
All right. Well, he's a famous comedian, and I'm interested in the journalism that is taking place here, as well as a lot of the other issues, but he was accused publicly of, sexual harassment, a woman is accusing him of having sex with her against her will. So something between sexual harassment and rape. And she did this in a piece online. I think babe.com is what it was. And I remember telling you when all of this started, when Mia Farrow's son, got involved in this, under 30 years old for the New York Times, and started this ball with Harvey Weinstein. I remember telling you how hard it is to do the reporting on these things, that they have to be vetted, that they have to go through lawyers. And so once the New York Times printed that, Harvey Weinstein blew his stack and started making all sorts of threats. But I remember telling you in that moment, no, this story is solid. Like, these things are hard to publish. And this story it's not fake news. It's not anything. He is buried. He's done. He thinks he's going to bluster his way out of it. No chance. He's done. But now where we're going with some of this is babe.com gets involved, and they don't have the same publishing standard by any means. And so what they go to print with is inflammatory, and it's hugely flimsy. And you put it in print because it's a famous person, and then it catches fire. And what ends up happening after that is people then start attacking women again, because it's like, you can't make this stuff up, and we can't make it about men being victims because a woman has remorse after sex and then wants to shame the man by accusing him of something.
It's babe.net. That's a fun.
It's not babe.com?
Nope, .net.
What's the difference?
Com and net.
Yeah. No. First of all, I'm not paying a fine for that, because that's not. Is that getting a? I get a human name wrong.
No,
a human being.
Blink 192. That's not a human name.
Whoops.
It's a band name.
Just made the mistake of going to babe.com. Sorry.
Don't do that on a corp.
Don't do that
Yeah.
on corporate.
See,
Well, I
that's
did
actually a pretty hefty fine.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I can't be held responsible for Stugatz going to some porn site because I made a mistake.
I was trying to catch up on the story, man. Like I said, I didn't read it. So.
Babe.net.
All right.
Babe.net, and with all its attendant credibility.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, do not put .com after Babe.
Okay. Babe.net reported this, and just the story is super flimsy, and I just don't know as we pick apart all of these things sometimes. I wonder about, let's just put aside the macro large issue, women as victims, women as prey. We all need to stop that. The journalism of it.
Right.
You have to, when you're publishing those things, there has to be some responsibility. There has to be some need for credibility. You cannot do that to Aziz Ansari with a nameless person just giving it to babe.net. There have to be lawyers involved. There has to be a fairness. To make sure, because damage gets done with this story to the credibility of legitimate victims.
New York Times would not do it this way. Is that what you're saying?
And I'm not saying that babe.net's person, no way they would do it that way. No way. There are very few we're in the modern age of social media blogs sort of dictating what journalism is. By no newspaper standard in the history of newspaper standards would that story have ever been published except in 2018.
Okay. So I was going to ask you, does this have mostly to do with the name of the website, babe.net?
No, it has
If the Times had done it the same way, would you be upset?
What I'm saying is you can't do that. You can't get that stuff into print that way. There's been a lowering of the standard that gets to the angry mob, and it needs to be elevated, not lowered. You can't keep lowering the standard and then feeding it to the mob and ask the mob to be discerning. You have to arrive with the information at the mob's doorstep that is accurate, that can be vetted, that is hard to publish. I don't know what happened in this situation. Aziz Ansari is reacting like this. He's been wronged. I don't know what happened. None of us know what happened. Maybe indeed this woman was simply a victim and Aziz Ansari was a horrible person throughout all of this. I don't know what happened, but I'm just talking about the publishing standard. Right. I'm talking about how it is that you get these things into print so that women can actually have power from them. Because what happens is when Harvey Weinstein goes crazy, and that's terrifying, the journalism hits him in the face and he can't do anything. Right. And it protects the women from Harvey Weinstein's bluster because the New York Times hit him in the face with it and you go down. It's why journalism is important.
And a story like this kind of sets that movement back.
No, it doesn't set it back. It's just stop doing that. Stop paying attention to those stories. Stop letting them be discerning about how you're absorbing news and I'm speaking specifically to you here because you don't make a distinction between the New York Times and babe.net.
Nope. Not anymore. I don't. And listen, as you pointed out a couple of times, it's not to say the story's not true. I understand what you're saying. It's completely unfair and it should be done in a much more. You would not like if this happened to you just because you're Stugatz. Let's say in the worst case hypothetical situation, let's say Aziz Ansari is indeed just a total victim here. Let's say it's that. I don't think it's that, but let's say it's that. Okay.
You wouldn't like if that were you. And that's where the publishing standard matters. Any one of us in that situation wouldn't like that very much.
I mean, who would like that? No one.
But we do it with celebrity all the time. We feel free by lowering that journalism standard all the time. Man, for years now, we have been climbing into bedrooms and changing the way journalism works and changing the standards and young people speak and the popular thing rules and the news organizations crumble into the earth. And you need them for times like this because, damn, if Angelina Jolie and all of these women didn't get strength from the backing of that original New York Times report, which is here in your face in a time when it's really difficult to discern with all of the things being said in politics, what's real, what's not real, what's a lie, what's not a lie. The New York Times put in front of you a report so thorough that the facts could not be questioned. The facts could end all the arguments. And it can't be he said, she said, when the facts end all the arguments. And women need that from journalism. they deserve that.
Well, and it's helped that it's stamped by the New York Times, obviously.
That's what I'm saying,
though.
But that's what I'm saying. No, hey, Babe.net could have done the reporting.
Sure.
And it could be credible on Babe.net if they'd done the reporting. But Babe.net didn't do that. They just had a headline. Famous guy. Hey, maybe there's something questionable here. Let's slap it up and throw him in the cauldron with all the other sexual harassers, rapists, and, potted plant pleasure seekers.
You have to hate the state of journalism because you're a journalist. You have to hate where we're at.
No, you evolve. You change. You keep it moving. And the top 10% is better than it's ever been. And the bottom 10% is worse than it's ever been. And the middle 80% is pretty mediocre. But no, in some ways, we're in the golden age of journalism because what the New York Times did across any era would have been something celebrated as a towering achievement.
Wouldn't know, not reading any of it.
You want more of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats? Tune in starting at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPNU.
Dan Le Batard. You're just allowed to give me one word on what you think. I tell you, American flag, you give me one word on what you think. Go ahead, Chris. You're only allowed one word.
Freedom.
That's what I was going to go with.
Stugats.
Guillermo.
Bald Eagles.
What?
2 words.
Well,
I mean, God, $2.
That's a fine.
$2. I mean,
That's a fine.
Do you realize?
You
realize how hard it is to be that bad with 2 words, man?
apple pie.
I got 2 words for you.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
J.K. Simmons with us on ESPN Radio. His new series, Counterpart, premieres Sunday, 8 p.m. on Stars. J.K. Simmons has become a friend of the show because every once in a while he comes through here and we remind him about his 2-2-gram past. 2-2-grams, is that what they were called?
Yes.
Do you think J.K. fancies himself as a friend of the show?
I don't know. It didn't sound like it. Their counterpart, J.K. Tell us about it. You've been doing, man, I hope everybody gets to age as gracefully as you have.
Oh, gee, thanks. Yeah.
Weird.
Am I supposed to talk about how gracefully I'm aging now, or about?
He did ask you 2 questions.
No,
there,
what
yes.
I'm saying is, like, you've had just this great career resurgence after 50, and it's just nice to see because you're really talented and you pick good projects.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and now that I have a bunch of trophies on the shelf, I have more to pick from, which is a great benefit from that.
It feels like, though, what he's doing there, J.K., tell me if I'm wrong, is he's criticizing everything you did before you were 50.
No, I'm saying...
Pretty much.
J.K., is your career not super unusual? I mean, it's not as unusual as Liam Neeson becoming an action star later in his acting career, but isn't your story unusual?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's unique, in fact. Unique to me. Yeah, I was schlepping around for a long time, making $112 a week doing theater in Buffalo or wherever, and loving life. You know, it's not like that was horrible either. But about the time I finally decided to grow up and settle down and get married and have some kids was about the time I started actually making a living. And one thing's led to another. I'm like a big snowball rolling downhill at this point.
And so Counterpart is part of the Avalanche. So you get a part of this, and what drew you to the project?
Just Justin Mark's script. I always tell my agent I don't want to know anything about it. I don't want to know the synopsis, the back, anything. I just want to read the script. And so I didn't even know about the big sort of bombshell that happens on page 20-something. I was just reading along, and they said this character named Howard, and I fell in love with the way this guy writes and the world he creates and who this character is, and then yeah, like I said, I get to page 20-something, and they bring Howard into this room, and it's all hush hush and secret, and then the big bombshell gets dropped, which I know it was so cool to me when I was reading it. I thought I wish audiences could experience that same sort of moment, but I think everybody's going to know that there are 2 of me, so I get to work twice as much.
What is the most unusual? What would you say is the most unusual acting experience of your life in this regard? 2 of you is unusual, but it's been done before. Weird as it is, what would you say is the most unusual thing you've had to do in this regard?
Well, it's my first time for two of me, so certainly in a way this would be the most unusual for me, except, of course, for the 2 grams stage, which was unusual and remains unique in my personal experience. I don't know. Probably some stuff in the theater days, I guess. Just playing something like Captain Hook.
How about having your wife directing you in a movie I'm Not Here? How was that? Was that unique? That had to be a weird experience for you.
No, it was especially since we met. Well, we met on that Peter Pan I was just talking about. We met as theater actors, and she's this cute little Broadway baby, and fast forward to whatever 20-some years, and now she's directing me in film. But we started out doing that when she first started getting into directing, filmmaking, making little short films. That relationship, started there. And I'm used to getting bossed around by her anyway, so really that...
Well, I was going to say, was there any awkwardness on the set? Like, was there any one memorable moment where you remember, that doesn't feel very good to have that happen in public?
I'm just kind of naked in the movie a lot, so it was a little awkward in general. But it was honestly, that was a great film to be directed by your wife instead of some random stranger saying, "All right, now walk over there with your lily white butt," And,
Yeah. All right. So any memorable details beyond your nudity on the set of her directing you during what sounds like a nude part?
Yeah, it's I'm joking about it. It's a very dramatic, intense sort of largely kind of sad film, and the character that I play is just kind of at the end of his rope, so he's home alone, and he puts on a robe eventually, so I don't want audiences to be frightened. She wanted me to basically be naked a lot and look as bad as possible naked. So there were the two options of put on a bunch of weight and be kind of fat and bloated and gross, or get kind of scrawny and emaciated, which just seemed healthier to me and appealed to what's left of my vanity. So that was the option that I went for. And I had the Santa Claus beard at the time, and it was just a couple of months after that the photo that broke the internet of my massive guns came out, which with the big beard, which my friend's son called Shredded Santa.
It is one of the great photographs ever taken, and one of the great shocks of my life to see J.K. Shredded Santa, J.K. Simmons. It was a marvel, and I don't mind telling you, you look good naked. I don't mind telling you.
Thanks.
Yes, you're welcome. You should strut around proudly. New series Counterpart premieres Sunday, 8 p.m. on Stars. You should watch it just because we like this guy. He just makes great decisions. He really does. You cannot spell jacked without the J.K. Thank you, J.K. We appreciate your time, sir.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Stu.
All right, J.K.
I really do like that dude, man.
Great.
Don Le Batard.
I mean, Stu Gatz is the physical manifestation of the comment section come to life. Do you agree with that assessment that you are a comment section come to life?
100%.
It's, I wouldn't take such pride in that.
I do.
Stu Gatz.
But I want you to imagine Stu Gatz rising up from the gutter. Like, what you're looking at right now is a gutter. Only a gutter. And now it starts as a face, and the mouth gets bigger, and it just keeps growing, and then just shouts, rings.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stu Gatz on ESPN Radio.
Here's a quick backstory, just quick as I can make it. I had the most awkward encounter of my life yesterday. I believe it to be the most awkward encounter anyone has ever had with any other human being. I may be wrong about this, but those of you who believe that you have a story better than this one to tell, I will maintain whatever that story is. You can only meet this story. You can't be better than this story. I'm on my back. My legs are in the air. I'm a turtle on its back. I've got my left hand cupping parts of my privates, and I'm hanging out. And Jose Alfonso, who has done this job for 28 years and is just very used to being the guy who just sweeps into a room and throws a wand over the testicles and then leaves. It's like buying groceries for him. It's like getting a cup of coffee in the break room.
A bear of a man.
A bear of a man. He comes into the room. The whole thing was awkward and awful. And then at the moment that I've got my legs up in the air, I'm totally vulnerable. I'm scared. He says to me right in my face, looks me right dead in the eye and says, I'm a really big fan of your TV and radio shows. And it was just awful. What swept over me then was simply awful. So I will now get out of the way, and I will allow the shipping container and Stugotz to interview Jose Alfonso about this experience. I don't know who wants to begin. I don't know how you guys want to do this, but the shipping container has a lot of questions. Thank you, Jose, for joining us on the show, and I'm still mad at you, dude. I am still mad. I am still mad at everything that you did yesterday. So go ahead, Mike. You start the bidding with whatever your questions are for this Jose Alfonso.
I know how awkward Dan is. So at any point, did he reach for his phone as a coping mechanism?
No, and I just want to say thank you for coming to the show, but I really didn't try to make him feel bad. As a matter of fact, I tried to make him comfortable. But I guess, it was great. It was great.
It was not great. It was not great. What are you talking about?
This is his job, Dan. This is what he does.
It was great, your facial expression, you know?
My facial expression when you said you were a big fan of the show. My facial expression was great. You can go straight to hell, Alfonso. Go ahead, Steve.
And when you get there, make sure you say hi to Art Briles, all right? Anyway, Jose, Dan had mentioned that he was using his left hand to cover his private parts, but he was free to do whatever he wanted to with his right hand. What was he doing with his right hand?
Well, he had it behind his head.
Yeah, I was splayed out. I was giving it up. Thank you. Good, quick answer.
Jose, after the initial awkwardness, was he like more pleasant? Was he nicer to you? Because he sounds like he was being malagradecido.
No. In the contrary, he was great. And he's he was really, really great.
Jose,
person.
I was angry at you. Jose, I was angry at you. What you did was wildly inappropriate. Wildly inappropriate.
Jose.
Well, I apologize.
No, you don't.
Don't apologize.
No,
you were doing your job, Jose. You don't apologize for doing your job.
Jose.
Well, yeah.
Is Dan okay?
Wait a minute.
Excuse me?
Is Dan going to be okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, he's okay.
Okay, very good.
Cool. That was fourth on our list.
All right. What were his thoughts on the...
Yeah, by the way, I just don't do testicular ultrasounds. I do all different ultrasounds.
Jose, we're not here to do an ad for you, dude.
Yeah, we're not.
We're not here to do a commercial for you to shop what you do for a living. Just be quiet for a second. You ask him a question, Stugotz.
What were Dan's thoughts? You asked him about the Jaguar game. What were his thoughts on the Jaguar game?
Yeah, he said they were doing good.
That's right.
Okay. Layers of sweat. Can you describe the sweat on Dan's forehead while all of this was going on?
Yeah, he was sweating a little bit, but he looked.
Hold on. May I ask a question, Jose? Why do you not understand that what happened between us that was very intimate, and that you are not supposed to be a person who is doing that in that situation? That you are finding this a totally normal experience, and I'm sitting there hugely vulnerable. How do you not understand?
Well, hold on. I'm guessing what he's trying to do is get you to a relaxed, calm state. He realizes that you're nervous. He realizes what he's doing. And Jose, am I right? You're trying to get Dan to a relaxed state, right?
I was. That's what I was doing. I mean, but I understand, Dan. But I understand what Dan is saying. But for me, it's normal. I've been doing this for a long time. So, but I was trying to make him relax.
Jose, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is dolphin smooth and 10 is the thick Amazon jungle, where does Dan rank?
Listen, that's I'll play the fifth on that one.
No, just answer the question.
Answer the question.
Okay, just answer the question. 1 or 2, pick a number between 1 and 10. Just go.
You repeat the question again?
Just 1 to 10. Just pick a number. You want to repeat the question again, Amin? Go ahead and repeat the question.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is dolphin smooth and 10 is the thick Amazon jungle, where does Dan rank?
Probably about an 8.
Okay, very good. Wow.
Hi, Jose. It's Mina. This is a yes or no question. Obviously, you've thought about he gets the show. You've thought about Dan. You've seen some things most of us haven't seen. Yes or no question. Were you surprised?
These are pretty awkward questions there. By the way, I love women anyway. Just to make it.
Oh no! We don't need to do that. No, we don't need to do any of that. What is that?
There was no need to state that.
There was no need to do any of that.
Yes or no?
Yes. What's Jose? She asked you a yes or no question, and you said, "I love women." It's a
okay. Yes or no question. Was that a surprise?
Jose, how big was it? How big was it?
I'm not answering. I'm not answering that.
All right. Goodbye, Jose. Thank you, sir. Oh, wait. We got one more? Hold on a second. Hold on. Does Chris Sims want to ask a question? Who else you got, Mike? You got anything else? All right. We've got one more question for you. So if you're just joining us and you don't understand what's happening here, and I appreciate Jose Alfonso being a good sport about this because he's taking quite the beating. That's probably not the right phrasing. But the thing here that was most unpleasant to me, and I just want you to understand this. I appreciate your efforts in trying to make me more comfortable. You can't be asking me about the Jags when I'm in that position, okay? Just take it from here as a life lesson, okay?
Okay, got it.
and let's not call your son anymore during that either, okay?
Oh, but by the way, he's really thankful about that. He's like, he's beating himself right now because he should have picked up the phone.
Oh, that's right, because we did call his son afterward. Yes, we did call.
Was Dan laying on his back when you tried to call his son? Like, what was going on there?
He was dressed already enough.
No, that's not true. Thank you, Jose, for being on with us. I was still on my back. Yeah, and we FaceTimed his 33-year-old adult son.
He was beating himself up.
Yeah. Beating himself up. Yeah. For not answering the phone.
Thank you for sharing this story with us, man.
You're an 8?
I mean, I don't know.
Not surprising, huh?
I don't know what to do with everything that just happened there. Because it's all wildly uncomfortable for me, obviously. I don't let you into those portions of my life because why would you want to be in those portions of my life? That's much too close to anybody you care about. And
Jose gets paid to be that close to
that's
your
right.
portion.
He gets paid. But what do we have in terms of rankings here for things that anybody can do to win if we're having an awkward off? If we're having a contest to see, can someone tell a story more awkward than that one? Of an encounter between two people, does anyone in our audience have a story in their life, the most awkward encounter of your entire life? Does anyone in our audience have a story to match that one?
I don't have awkward encounters, man. I just don't. I'll figure out a way to spin it. It's never awkward with me.
Wait a minute, Mike. I think this is a good conversation to have, actually. How would this have all been different with Stugotz? Would Stugotz have just rolled through this?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I would have given him my take on the Jaguars game. I probably would have offered it to him without him even asking for it.
So wait a minute. If you were in the position I'm in, you're saying that guy says in your face. He says in your face.
Yeah.
Stugotz, at that moment you learn that he knows who you are and he says, hey, man, I'm a big fan of the radio and TV show. You think you just roll with that. You're like, yeah, man, hey, that's really nice of you. While your legs are in the air and you're cupping your private parts.
Yep. Roll with it easily, man. Hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a big fan. And then I answer his questions. That's what you do. I can't recall any awkward encounters that I've had because I don't make things awkward.
I mean, I have one that beats it, but I cannot. It is so hard to tell it, but it has to do with a colonoscopy and something that happened. It's it's worse, but I can't tell it. I really can't.
It's coming up next.
Don Le Batard.
I'm going to a concert. The date is in my bedroom. Somebody has used the bidet and it doesn't look clean. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, how do I clean this?
Stugotz.
So I'm staring at this. I got 4 faucets and this doesn't look clean to me, and I've got a date outside, and I'm like, that's kind of gross. That she would come in here and there would be a dirty bidet. She's going to accuse me. I don't know how to use the bidet. I turn one of the fountains right in my face, gets my shirt all wet.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Stugats is very excited about Boomer and TJ reuniting this weekend. Chris Berman and Tom Jackson. And when he said during the break that he was very excited about it, Mike Ryan and Chris Cody got fired up as well. They were fired up.
It's been a while since, Berman's delivered highlights and TJ's this there. Go, Yeah.
These guys are legitimately excited about it.
I really am. I mean, this is great.
Allison, we'll get to you in a second. Chris Sims with us now. Chris Sims, he is our football analyst. For 70 straight days, he is ranking quarterbacks. Blake Bortles, he is ranked at number 70. We have gone through the list. We are now on number 43. The last one he gave us yesterday, 44, Drew Stanton. This is where I want to start with you today before we get to number 43, Chris. What are you rooting for this weekend? Like, when you watch that game, what does Chris Sims honestly want to happen?
Yeah, your people already think I'm crazy because at Bleacher Report last week, when Pittsburgh and Jacksonville were playing, I was rooting for the Jacksonville Jaguars as the game went on. I find Jacksonville's style of play fascinating. It's old school, it's in your face, it's smash mouth, and I love the cockiness of the defense. I'm a little stuck here. Of course, I worked for the New England Patriots, so I have relationships there. I also know people that work for the Jacksonville Jaguars and have relationships. I think at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm rooting for the best Super Bowl possible. So I think the best Super Bowl possible is New England versus Minnesota. Okay, that's the matchup I think will be the sexiest, the most fun to cover. I think Minnesota's defense can match up a little bit with New England's defense and offense, and then of course being in Minnesota, the Super Bowl would be pretty cool as well.
Are you prepared though for the possibility that during Super Bowl week, Blake Bortles and his entire crew will be talking a lot about you?
Well, yeah, I am very. I mean, I'm sure some of his crew is talking about me already. I mean, Stugatz already put Tony Baselli on me.
Yep.
So who knows who else comes after me after that? But I am very. I'm ready for it. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I got enough friends in the world. I don't need to make any more. Like I've told you guys, I really study this stuff. I work hard at it. I enjoy it. I've been around it my whole life, and I feel, very comfortable with my fact-based opinion here.
You're rooting for the Patriots. If Bortles makes it to the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl, and somehow during a post-game speech he calls out Chris Sims, will you wear that like a badge, or will you be insulted?
I would be shocked, really. I hope he's not listening to me too much. I mean, I hope he's not listening to me at all. He shouldn't be. As a starting quarterback, he should be enjoying it. He should be worried about the New England Patriots. If I was a starting quarterback, I'd probably be telling my teammates, hey, don't worry about it. Let's just work today. Let's get better. I'm the starting quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm making a lot of money. The hell with all those people out there. So I would hope he's not listening to me. But if he did want to throw a shot at my way as he's holding up the Super Bowl trophy, then so be it. I'll take it like a man.
All right. Chris Sims with us on the ESPN Radio. I'm just, let's, before we get to number 4.
Guys, could I say one more thing?
Yes.
Yep.
I was just going to say, too, it's not about whether they win or lose or anything like that. It's about the way he looks. I don't care about the stats, anything like that. It's been 4 years of, him not being able to throw 20-yard in cuts and deep post routes and go routes and deep outs and deep comebacks. So it's not about the stats or the wins or the losses. It's about the quality of the position, the things they ask him to do, the things they don't do because they know he can't do it. It's all those things that have led me to this point, just so you guys know.
Would you agree, yes or no, that the Jacksonville Jags are going into New England with exactly the ingredients that are the only ingredients that ever beat Tom Brady in this situation?
They have a lot of the ingredients. Yes, they do. The defense is special. You know that. I mean, we've talked about it. They have a front four that doesn't really you don't need to blitz. Their front four can get there by itself. they arguably have the number 1 and number 2 corner in football on both sides of their defense. So that's remarkable. I would say Telvin Smith and Miles Jack are arguably the best duo at the middle linebacker in all of football. So from that standpoint, yes, personnel-wise, they're about as good of a defense that can match up with New England. And then on the offensive side of the ball, that's a different story. They're smash mouth. They can control the clock. So if they can do that, it will be great because it'll keep Brady off the field. But if they're in 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 9 consistently, and they're going to have to depend on Bortles to make decisions in the pocket and make throws within the pocket, then that could get scary. And then that's where you could just see New England slowly wear down the Jaguars and eventually just pull away and win the football game.
15 seconds or less. How do you, if you're Jacksonville, guard Gronkowski?
Yeah, I think that if he split out a receiver, I'm putting Jalen Ramsey on him. I'm going to treat him like a number 1 legit superstar receiver. If he's connected to the line of scrimmage, I'm going to make sure somebody bumps him as he gets off the line of scrimmage. And in those situations, if you do go man-to-man, I think you got to put a Miles Jack on him, who was an ex-college running back. That's what I would do if I'm the Jaguars.
All right, number 43. Again, Blake Bortles is the 70th best quarterback in the world, according to Chris Sims of Bleacher Report. And so now, number 43, according to Chris Sims, is?
Matt Moore, Miami Dolphins.
Thank you, Chris. Enjoy.
We're starting to arrive at a territory where I'm saying to myself, yeah, Matt Moore on that Jaguar team. Yeah, they probably
We're
would
not
be better.
starting to arrive at that territory. We've been
there.
at that territory since number 70.
No.
Chris, thank you, sir. I just saw the entire crew from Countdown come in here with all their cameras. We'll look forward to watching you and Stugotz argue about this on Countdown on Sunday.
Okay, sounds good. I'm in the room with all the cameras right now, just so you know.
Oh, you're in the other room. Okay, over there where you are. All right, very good.
I'll
we
see
look
you
forward
guys.
to
Thanks
that.
for having me. Have a good weekend.
All right.
Time for Dan to reluctantly take part in something Stugotz couldn't be happier doing.
That's going to be fun if the Jaguars do that. Jalen Ramsey on Gronk, that is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
You can listen to the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio, and you can watch on ESPNU.